Hey, everybody, and welcome to another deep dive into learning English.
Yes,
Today, we're going to be talking about family
that's right, family. It's one of those things that comes up.
all the time in conversation.
Yeah, sometimes it can be hard to talk about things
Even simple
in
things.
another language.
But we're here to make it.
Easy peasy.
We're going to give you all the vocabulary and phrases that you need to talk about your family in English.
Yeah, we've got a great dialogue for you today.
It's from a resource called,
I
and the section is called Talking About Family.
okay.
And it's for everyday life, like daily life conversations. And it's aimed at a B1 level. So
That's intermediate level.
intermediate level. Yeah.
So if you're,
Beginner or intermediate.
yeah,
This is going to be great for you.
absolutely.
To make it even more fun, we're going to act out the dialogue.
Oh, fun.
I'm going to be John.
And I'll be Emma.
All right. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Okay. Here we go. That's great news. What does he do?
He's a software developer. He's really passionate about coding.
That's amazing. Is he working on anything interesting right now?
Yes, he's developing an app for small businesses.
Wow, that sounds useful. My cousin runs a small shop. He might need it.
I can tell my brother about it. Maybe he can help your cousin.
So that was our dialogue.
Yeah.
Did it feel like a real conversation?
It did. It felt really natural.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Yeah.
And I really like how it flowed. We started with some news and then,
Questions.
yeah, questions and answers.
Expressing interest, offering help.
Yeah, it was a really nice flow to the conversation. Now let's take a look at some of the key vocabulary and phrases from that dialogue.
Okay.
We heard developer,
Yes.
passionate, small business.
Mm.
So these are really important words when you're talking about family and jobs in English
Yeah, these are words that you're going to use all the time when you're speaking English.
all the time. So let's break them down one by one. What is a developer?
Well, a developer is somebody who creates things, like software or apps. They're kind of like the brains behind a lot of the cool technology that we use.
So if you use apps on your phone,
Exactly.
there's a developer behind that. So my
Yeah.
brother is a developer.
Oh.
He makes video games.
Wow.
Okay, how about passionate? What does passionate mean?
Well, passionate means that you really, really love something. Like you're very enthusiastic about it.
Like you put your heart and soul into it.
Yes, exactly. And remember in the dialogue, Emma said her brother was passionate about coding. So that means that he really loves what he does.
He doesn't just do it for the money.
Exact.
He does it because he loves it.
Yeah.
All right, and last but not least, we have small business. What is a small business?
Well, small business is a company that's not like a huge corporation. It might be a local shop or a restaurant, that's family run. It could even be an online store.
Yeah, something small.
Something small.
And often run by people who really care about their work.
Yes, exactly. And John used a great phrase in the dialogue. He said that his cousin runs a small shop.
Runs a small shop. So we use this verb run when we talk about managing a business or owning a business.
Yes, exactly.
You could say, my aunt runs a cafe.
Yeah.
Or my father runs a restaurant. Or even,
My sister runs an online store.
yeah.
You can use it for all kinds of businesses.
So it's a very versatile phrase.
Very useful.
You can use it in many situations.
Yeah.
And remember, these are just a few examples of how you can use these words.
Yeah.
The best way to learn these is to actually start using them.
In your own conversations.
In your own conversations. The more you practice, the easier it will become. And don't be afraid to make mistakes.
That's right. Everybody makes mistakes.
Everyone makes mistakes.
It's part of learning.
It's part of learning.
Yeah.
So let's try using some of these words in sentences.
Okay.
So imagine you're talking about your own family. What could you say?
Okay, let me think. How about this? My sister is a developer. She's really passionate about making video games.
That's great. You use both developer and passionate in a very natural way.
Thank you.
Your turn. How about you try one?
Okay, how about my uncle runs a small bakery. He makes the most amazing cakes.
Wow, that sounds delicious.
I know, right?
And you runs a small bakery perfectly.
There you go.
So it's really not that difficult to use these.
No, it's not.
Once you start practicing them, and it's fun.
Yes, it is.
So before we move on to part 2, I want to point out one more thing.
Okay.
Remember how Emma offered to connect John's cousin with her brother?
Oh,
I
yes.
thought that was really nice of her.
It was very kind.
And it shows that, these conversations about family can lead to some,
Helpful connections.
yeah, you might be surprised at the opportunities that come up just by talking about your family.
Yeah, absolutely.
So keep that in mind as you practice talking about your family in English.
Good advice.
So we've covered some great vocabulary and phrases in this first part of our deep dive.
We have.
Get ready to level up your English skills even further in part 2.
Welcome back to our deep dive on talking about family.
We're back.
I hope you're ready for more.
I am. That first part was so helpful.
It was. We covered a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, with those few phrases and words, you can already start having basic conversations in English about your family.
That's right. But we're not stopping there.
Okay.
We're going to dig a little deeper and explore some ways to make your conversations even more interesting and engaging.
All right. I like it. I'm ready. What's the secret?
Well, one simple but powerful technique is using adjectives.
Adjectives.
Yeah.
Like,
Like big, small, happy, sad.
yeah.
These words help us paint a more vivid picture with our words.
Okay.
So instead of just saying, my brother is a doctor, you could say, my brother is a kind and caring doctor.
Oh, I see. That gives you so much more information about him.
Exactly. It's like adding color to a black and white drawing.
I like that.
So let's say you have a sister who loves to bake. Instead of just saying, my sister bakes, you could say, my sister is a talented baker who makes delicious cake.
Ooh, now I want to eat cake.
Right. It just makes her sound so much more interesting. And it makes your descriptions more specific and memorable.
So it's not just about what they do, but what kind of person they are.
Exactly.
I like that. Now, what's another tip?
Don't be afraid to share stories about your family.
Oh, stories. I love stories.
Me too. Everyone has those funny or heartwarming family anecdotes.
They do. Everyone does.
And stories are a fantastic way to connect with people and make your conversations more lively.
So instead of just listing facts about my family, I could tell a funny story about my grandpa or,
Yes.
a sweet memory about a family vacation.
Exactly. For example, you could say, my grandma's a real character. One time she... and then launch into a funny anecdote about her.
And everyone's laughing.
Everyone's laughing. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just so much more engaging than just saying, my grandma is funny.
Yes. Much more interesting.
Right. Stories bring your family members to life and make them feel real to the person you're talking to.
I love it. I'm getting so many good ideas. I feel like I could talk about my family now forever, but I know we have more to talk about.
We do. We do.
What else can we explore to help our listeners really master this topic of talking about family in English? And we are back for the final part of our deep dive on talking about family.
We've come a long way.
We have. We've learned about basic vocabulary and descriptive words.
And storytelling.
Oh yeah, the power of storytelling.
So important.
But there's one more layer that we need to explore,
Oh, there is.
and that is family dynamics.
That's right. Because families come in all shapes and sizes.
They do.
And it's important to be able to talk about those different dynamics in English.
Absolutely. So what kind of phrases can we use to talk about these different relationships?
Well, let's start with some basic terms for family structures. We have immediate family,
Immediate family.
which usually refers to parents, siblings, and spouses.
And then we have extended family.
That's right. Extended family includes grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins.
And don't forget the in-laws.
Yes, the in-laws, your spouse's family.
So many people to talk about.
I know.
Now, how would you describe a family that's very close?
Well, you could say we're a very close-knit family.
Close-knit.
Or we have a strong bond.
Okay.
You can also use phrases like, we're always there for each other, or we support each other through thick and thin.
Oh, that's nice.
I know, very heartwarming.
Now, what about families that aren't so close?
Oh, good question.
Maybe they live far apart or they don't see each other very often.
Right. In those cases, you could say something like, we're not as close as we used to be, or we live our own lives.
Makes sense.
You could also say, we see each other occasionally, or we keep in touch from time to time.
Yeah, those are good phrases for those situations.
It's all about finding the right words to reflect the relationship.
It is. Now, what about describing specific relationships within a family?
Okay.
Like, for example, how would you describe a sibling rivalry?
Oh, that's a classic. You could say my brother and I are very competitive, or we have a love-hate relationship.
Oh, a love-hate relationship.
You could even add some humor and say, we fight like cats and dogs, but we love each other deep down.
That's a good one.
I know everyone can relate to that.
Everyone. All right, now how would you describe a parent who is very strict?
Oh, you could say, my father runs a tight ship, or my mother has high expectations.
Okay.
Or you could use phrases like, they're very disciplined, or they believe in tough love.
They sound strict.
They do. And what about the opposite if you have a parent who's very lenient?
Plebeian.
You could say something like, my parents are very easygoing, or they let me do my own thing.
Oh.
You could also say, they're not strict at all, or they trust me to make my own decisions.
So many different ways to talk about family relationships.
It's amazing how many phrases and words we have in English to describe all the different nuances.
When I'm feeling much more confident about having these conversations now.
I'm glad to hear that.
So any final words of wisdom before we wrap up this episode?
Remember, be genuine and authentic when you're talking about your family. Share stories that are meaningful to you. Use words that feel comfortable, and don't be afraid to express your unique perspective.
I love that. So it's all about connecting with others.
Yes, through the shared experience of family.
Exactly. Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive on talking about family.
We covered a lot today.
We did. We started with basic vocabulary.
Then we talked about descriptive words.
We explored storytelling.
And finally, we delved into the complex world of family dynamics.
I feel like we gave our listeners all the tools they need to start talking about their families in English.
Absolutely.
So go out there and practice.
Yes, practice makes perfect.
The more you use your English, the more confident you will become.
And most importantly, have fun.
Yes.
Sharing stories and connecting with others about family is one of the joys of language learning.
It really is. And if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe to our channel for more tips and tricks on mastering the art of speaking English.
We'll be back soon with another deep dive.
Until then, happy learning.
Thanks for joining the conversation here at Kaz English. We hope you found it fun and informative. Don't forget to check out kazapp.uk. That's kazapp.uk for more tips, resources, and interactive practice. Keep exploring, keep chatting, and we'll catch up with you again soon.